lovers of all things geekdom. My name is Aaron, aka Lefham, and welcome to my brand new show, Let's Talk About, where basically I sit down, speak about opinions, speak about facts, basically things on the internet. They either drive me up the freaking wall or they interest me. And this is a brand new show that I add to our channel. It's been in the making for a while now. I just had to find kind of like the right settings and everything like that. But it's going to be a slow start with the editing process just until I can figure out exactly how I want to do this. But we're pretty much going to get right into it with our very first topic. Let's talk about virtual reality MMOs and Sword Art Online. And basically what I want to talk about in that is I just finished rewatching the first season, and the year it takes place and everything kind of interested me because I know we have virtual reality right now, but where will we be when virtual reality MMOs, such as like with the Nerve Gear and Sword Art Online, would be a thing? And if none of you have ever watched Sword Art Online before, you're not really into anime, that's perfectly fine. Basically what it is the Nerve Gear, you put the helmet on your head and basically attaches to your neurons in your brain, I believe just through electromagnetics, to put you into kind of like a deep slumber and put you inside of a game where you kind of have full control using your brain, just like if you were sleeping. So where I want to go about with this is basically, like I said, is it possible that we actually hit virtual reality MMO like Sword Art Online by the year that they started, which I believe was somewhere around 2021 to 2025, because I know the second season is in 2025. Excuse me. And I don't think so. I think if we hit that point where we get something like the Nerve Gear, they would have already had been working on it for years now. There was an article that I read, I want to say about a year or two ago, when kind of like VR was getting big, it was just starting up, where they said they wanted to make a Sword Art Online VR game, and they wanted to invite 500 people out to try it. And I haven't heard about anything since then about this. So I don't know if like they kind of disappeared like they did in the game, or if they just signed such like release forms where they couldn't actually say anything about it, which makes total sense. Because they don't want to put it out if there's like bugs or anything like that, and they kind of want to put it out there when it's completely ready for the consumers, even if it's just like the HTC Vive, Oculus, or PlayStation VR. They want to make this kind of thing happen, which I'm completely 100% for. I want virtual reality MMO. God, I cannot say virtual reality. Jesus. I want those kind of things to exist because we have regular games. I think the first one that got virtual reality, virtual reality, was, I think, Everwinter, something like that, EverQuest, something, one of those, like one of the games that you don't hear too much about anymore. But I want these kind of things to happen because I've always wanted something like Sword Art Online to exist. Because of what they do in the game and how in-depth the game goes, I want to go that way. The last time I had something like that was ArcAge when it first came out, and my computer stopped being able to run it after a specific update. So the frame rates and everything was just really poor, and I couldn't play the game anymore. But that was the last time that I got super in-depth into a MMO. And because I looked at it, I could go there. That's pretty much it. I could glide, I could do whatever. It was amazing. Pretty much dressed my character up like Kirito from Sword Art Online, and I was a dual-wielding swordsman, DPS, always. But yeah, I mean, ever since then, there's not much MMOs that really make me get really hardcore into a game of MMO stature. I tried World of Warcraft, I tried all those games, and it doesn't really fit for my style. My style is the Sword Art Online style, where you need to get to the end of the game and you need to beat it, and it's difficult, and it's going to take a lot of time and effort and people to be able to finish something like that. It gives you a lot of motivation to do it. But as an adult now, being 25, that becomes more difficult. And speaking of like being an adult and everything like that, if it gets to the point to where, like, say, virtual reality MMO of the Sword Online stature becomes a thing in the 2020s, I'm going to be in close to my 30s, if not in my 30s, when something like that happens. And I'm hoping dear God, I'm hoping that my life will be exponentially more vast and more explorative by then, where I may have a family, I may be super successful like I want to be in my writing career and everything like that, or with this even, um, that I won't have time for something like that. Maybe able to do it for only a couple of hours. And so that kind of breaks my heart a little bit because that's something that I would love to do, something I'd love to be a part of, which sucks, but enough of that kind of whole thing. I kind of want to go into the whole, is it possible? Can we do something like that? And from what I understand, this is just me spitballing. So do mind that whatever I say, if it's not accurate, anything like that, please do let me know in the comments down below. Let's start a conversation about it. Because that'll be pretty cool to be able to have like a conversation with people about how something like this could be possible. But pretty much, like, I believe that you put neurons, just like as if you're putting the little tabs from the doctor's office on your brain to be able to study the neurons in your brain, or when they do studies on people's brain chemistry and everything like that. Pretty much be like that, but it kind of puts you into a sleep-induced coma of a sort, where you can actually leave whenever you want, but you're controlling the entire game. Everything you do, whereas it's logging out, eating, feeling pain, everything like that, all deals with the brain. And I believe it's something that can be possible, though obviously with how Sword Art Online is, and like I said, if you don't watch Sword Art Online, basically these kids get into this game for the first time when it gets launched, the very first VRMMO with a nerve gear, and they all get trapped in the game. And that's a very scary thing to deal with, right? Like, if that's something that would actually happen, I believe they could do it as long as they get the technology correct and everything like that. Which, I mean, I got stuck like that. I wouldn't bitch or moan or anything like that. The only thing I'd probably be worried about is my family or friends or whatever trying to unplug me, because if you get unplugged from the server in the game, you die in the real world. If you die in the game, you die in the real world. That's what the scary part about it was. But I do believe that something like that can be possible, putting someone into like a sleep, and then projecting everything through your brain. It would be really cool. It would be amazing if something like that could happen. I do believe it's possible with the right technology, the right advancements and everything like that. But honestly, I don't see it happening around the same time Sword Art Online did. It's kind of like that Back to the Future effect, where they got to 2015, they had flying cars, they had this, they had that, and we never have that. We didn't have that at all. So I don't think it's something that could be possible. It's kind of just someone picking a date and thinking this is where technology is going to advance to. I think VR is still in the early stages of development. It's probably going to be just like video games started out from like Pong to where we are now. It's going to take years and years and years for them to be able to do something like that. But I do believe it can be possible, given pretty much whatever humans can come up with, we can create at some point or another, which is pretty fantastic. Another thing I would like to talk about is basically kind of like the worry of doing VR MMO, because I know there will be people out there, normal people, who would just use it during the day just like they're playing games, and they will get off and go to sleep. But there's probably going to be people out there that are going to use it as if it replaces their sleep, because I don't exactly know for sure if it does exactly put them to sleep and have them kind of like rejuvenate and everything like that, or if they're kind of like in a almost like an awake state, like when you sit there and you're falling asleep but you wake up and you feel really tired because you were just restless. But that's what the word I'm looking for is. Basically you're restless the entire time. So I fear that people are going to use that as like a change in their sleep. Like, this is what they're going to be doing while they're asleep. If it does happen to be something that puts you to sleep and it basically replaces your dreams. I think that could be a very serious problem. So say like they come up with an update and they're like, okay, we're going to shut the servers down overnight and everything like that. So you have to actually go to sleep. When you go to sleep, you're probably going to have like the worst dreams possible, and may even put yourself into a very bad situation where you end up waking up not feeling well. You get very sick, or you may not even wake up at all. It's possibilities that you could go through with dealing with this kind of thing, because it's not something that we typically know anything about, because obviously it's a show and not real life, and I don't think people really made studies on it. Excuse me. So I mean, that could be a very serious like talk that scientists would have to go through. It's just like, okay, because we know people are going to be stupid, and deal with this kind of thing, game all night with it, go the next morning and like, I just got to sleep. I was sleeping the game. It's perfectly fine. I'm all right. That could be a very serious and dangerous thing that people would have to deal with. Um, Pretty much going into kind of like the whole Sword Art Online thing, like how would this work? How many people can make this kind of thing? Because in Sword Art Online, between the seasons of 1 and 2, you go through the whole story of like there's one game that people got stuck in, then that ends, then another game comes out, and basically that's the only game that lives there, but then it gets shut down for reasons I don't want to go too much into because I don't want to spoil it too much, but I'm pretty much going to spoil the rest of it, so I might as well just say it anyway. Like it was a company that was very corrupt. They were doing mind studies to be able to control people in their sleep using the VR technology, so they ended up getting shut down. But the original creator of the first game, who died but uploaded his subconscious to the memory of the system, gave Kirito, who's the main character, this basically a world seed, where basically they sent it out and basically made VRMMO games and servers free reign to anybody who wanted to do so. So anybody could get in there, make a game, and put it out online and for people to play it. Pretty much like free to play gaming. I don't know if it's exactly free to play. I'm assuming you have to go and buy the VR sets or have one already, buy them online through eBay if anybody wants to sell them, if they don't sell them anymore. They never really went too much into that kind of thing. They just kept going from one thing to another. And then when you got to the second season, which is basically the third game, Gun Gale Online, which is made in the West and got very popular around the world because it dealt more like with shooters, which is really fascinating for the creator of Sword Art Online, not like inside Sword Art Online, but the writer of it, to make something like that, kind of showing how Western video games is basically the vast majority of people play shooters. There is a lot of people that play these single player games and everything like that, but for the most part, Western is Call of Duty, Western is Battlefield, Gears of War, Halo. The shooters is very big over here, so watching them do Gun Gale Online was fascinating to me. And I love the concept of it. When the new game comes out, Fatal Bullet, I'm definitely going to get it because they're adding more to the game franchise. Is something that I've been wanting for a very long time, which is co-op battles and everything like that. And I'm hoping they kind of steal more of the aspects of Sword Art Online to create that game, where they have the Battle of Bullets. I think it was called Bullet of Bullets. That's what it was called, Bob, for short. Which is basically like a tournament where people can go in and prove they are the best at what they do. And I hope they do stuff like that. But back to the original topic. Yeah. So talking about Gun Gale Online and everything like that, when people could create something like that out of it, where people all around the world are playing this kind of game or making different types of games and stuff like that, it'd be really cool to see what kind of other MMOs someone would be able to get out of that if they were to, say, create VRMMO like expansions where anybody can create a game that they want, which would be completely fantastic and fascinating to be able to do something that wide scale. But basically, just to close this all out, I'm pretty sure I've said millions of lines over and over again. Like I said, this is a learning curve for me. Being able to not read off of a script, be able to go full banter on the way I usually do in real life when I'm with my friends. I wanted to give you guys a full raw edit of how I talk normally when it comes to my opinions and facts and stuff like that off of factual things that I might talk about in the future, and be able to make subsidiaries of this show. I would love to know your thoughts on the subject of VRMMO with Nerve Gear, or VRMMO in general, where we are now, where we could be. Would you like something like Sword Art Online to exist? Leave everything down in the comments down below. Let's start a conversation about this. This is basically what I want this entire show to be, is people making conversation about different subjects. And if you like the video, please hit that like button. It really does mean a lot to us. If you want to see more of our content, please hit the subscribe button. Check out EhrickWho, see what he's doing. Check out Nathan, aka Grim, and what he's doing. They're all doing great Let's Plays. We want to get the geekouts back out again this year. Really skyrocket this into what we really want it to be, which is basically a rebirth of what G4 was. G3, it was not like it's a coincidence, really. We kind of just came up with a name and the acronym for it a while ago when we first started this. But that's what we want to be. I want to talk to you guys. I want to really make conversations and get a great community going, talking about great things like anime, geek culture in general, technology, whatever really pops up in my head at the time. But if there's anything you love for me to talk about, please leave that in the comments down below as well. I'd really love to hear them. Really love to dive into these things and really make something awesome here for everybody to like kind of talk to one another and really build something. Like I said, repeating myself over and over. But as always, guys, my name is Aaron, aka Letfum. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you watched the whole thing. And I'll see you guys later. Oh, no, can't do that anymore.